So I want to start off this video by giving a little bit of a disclaimer here. I do not think that I'm like hard to please with this series. I started playing Mario Kart Wii back when I was really young. I played that, then when I played MKDS first. That was the first one I owned. Then MKWii came out, and it's like, okay, well, there's much more simplified driving now, so I guess that's a bummer, but that didn't stop me from playing it and enjoying it. Then MK7 came out, and it's like, oh man, this is a direct downgrade from MKWii. It's like 8 players, and it's a handheld, but I played it also. I enjoyed it. Then MK8 came out. Everybody's like, oh man, the item system is whack. This is unplayable. Well, guess what? I played that also. I enjoyed it. And then Deluxe came out, and everybody's like, oh, there's no driving tech and stuff. This is like the worst version, but you know what? I played that also. So the point is like, I'm easy to please with these Mario Kart games. But, you know, like, Tour is just kind of unforgivable. Like, I'm just going to be realistic. So, thing is, we knew it was going to be bad. Like, let's be realistic. It's a mobile game. We knew it was not, like, we knew that it could not have had that high of a ceiling, that there was going to be problems and stuff. But I'm just going to kind of reiterate that all, like, the worries and fears about the game initially are more or less true. It's unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is, so we're going to talk about it really quickly. The first thing is that the controls are pretty bad. We knew that the controls are going to be pretty bad. You have limited access to what you can do. I mean, you have a smartphone. Like, you get a push directional inputs to do everything. Whether or not they actually work is one thing. They do for the most part. It's a little rough. For me, somebody who plays Deluxe, I never even thought about using auto accelerate or smart steering, but it's pretty much for this game, like, it's not even an option that I have to if I want to actually like play the game optimally, it feels, because I just cannot control the game. You know, I may be just worse at Tour than any other game in the series, but I'm honestly perfectly okay with that because I don't really have much motivation to play it anyway. But anyway, let's talk about why this is true, I guess. So, the controls are bad. I think it lags for many phones. Has constant frame drops from what I can tell, unless you're using a very powerful, newish device. This is at least for me. And I know there's a gold pass recently. I know that's just like a cash grab, but we don't have to talk about it being a cash grab. It has a 200cc behind a paywall, and I'm just kind of thinking, why bother? Because if the controls are bad anyway, then why make it harder on yourself, I guess. But that's just my personal thought on that. So the other thing is, this is kind of looking like to be more of a port of MK7. I think they reused a lot of assets here. Very few new tracks. I think almost every retro track besides like Choco Island 2 and Yoshi Circuit came from 7. The physics feel somewhat similar, except in dumbed down form. And, you know, it's also kind of funny that the special item Lucky 7 is in the game, but not Crazy 8. It's kind of just, it's like, may have been easier to include, I suppose. And I guess there are a few touches of Deluxe in here, but it's mainly just auto-accelerated smart steering. Which, in fairness, probably make the game better because it would have been incredibly hard to control otherwise. So, anyway, going into, like, actual problems of the game, though. I would say that single-player races, at the very least, are not even focused on winning. And I know you get points for every race. I think getting points is fine, I suppose, but like at the end of the day, it's supposed to be a racing game. So the fact that like you can get 5 stars on some maps for getting 2nd or 3rd place, yet on other maps win the race straight up and only get 3 stars, I feel like that is a little alarming, I guess. And you know, I understand that it's kind of a game that's based on high scores, and most mobile games are like this, but like, for me, I guess it just kind of takes integrity out of the race a little. But, you know, I can't complain about this too much, considering getting first place will always still help you points-wise. It just feels that, like, a lot of people are just playing a racing game for all the wrong reasons, I suppose. And I understand why the system's like this and stuff, because it all comes down to one thing. It's a free-to-play game. So exploiting people into wanting to buy things has to be the end goal. And when you have an infinite amount of scores that you can get, but well, not infinite, but when you have high scores obtainable instead of just a end goal of first place, it always brings people back to it always gives people more motivation to try to get any advantage that they can whatsoever. The other thing is there's pretty shameless microtransactions in the game. We were expecting this, but I was not expecting it to be this bad, I guess. So pretty much there are ways to buy in-game rubies, and the rubies make unlocking things much quicker, and obviously people want to have their favorite character and stuff, so it's hard to get characters in this game is all I'm saying. I was not expecting it to be this slow, and to be honest, the conversion rate of actual real-world money to the amount of rubies you get is kind of pathetic. I think there's an option to pay $70 to get like 135 rubies, which really isn't that much. I don't think it's going to guarantee that you unlock anybody, really. But you know, I know some people are going to buy this, and when people buy this, it just gives these developers more reason to make half-assed mobile games, I guess, and that's the kind of problem I have with this whole thing. It's not really the game itself. It's just the supporting of the mobile market, and the mobile market usually takes shortcuts, is kind of lackluster content-wise, and it's just so blatant, I guess, what they're trying to do here. So most people, I think, they get to start off with 1 or 2 characters in this game, and content unlocks really slowly, including cups for that matter. And, you know, there's experience limits on the combos and cup construction. That stuff doesn't make personal sense to me, but, you know, I guess they want to release content all at once, I guess. But this all comes back to one theme later, which is character favorite tracks. And this, like at first glance, like this looks like a cool idea, because it's like, oh yeah, it would make sense that like Daisy likes Daisy Hills, for example. But it seems like a cute, harmless idea at first, but when you take a deeper look, this is like the mobile gaming at its finest, I guess, because you see, it's high score based, and certain characters get more items on certain tracks, and will get higher points as a result of it, and get easier combos. So eventually, what they will do, just like Candy Crush, is that some cups or future tours will be ridiculously hard and like pretty much impossible to obtain 5 stars on. It may be this way already, I'm not sure. It may be impossible to actually get 5 stars on some future maps and stuff, unless you have the character that makes it significantly easier, or the cart setup and everything. But the problem is, when the game only gives you 2 characters at the start, and very slow unlocking criteria, just playing the game normally, I think I've gotten about 60 rubies, which really isn't that much. I think I have like 10 characters total, and a lot of these characters I got were like from the coin shop also. But the problem is that the game will technically limit how well you can do without certain characters, and if it becomes an actual problem in the future, it's going to mean that, you know, it's going to mean that people will get stuck, I guess, because they won't have the best character for certain maps, and they'll run out of grand stars. So I'm just assuming that everybody kind of knows a little bit about the game. But when somebody gets stuck and they don't have access to the new cups, they're going to want to be able to go back and get 5 stars on certain things, but it may not be possible to get 5 stars on certain things when they don't have the characters, thus putting extra pressure on them to spend money in order to roll more pipe firing, I guess is what it is. And when you have to spend more money, they've already won. So pretty much the goal is to get you addicted early, so later on you'll be willing to spend money when you do get stuck to get the few rubies, the emeralds, the diamonds, whatever it is in any mobile game. So it makes life easier, I suppose. And technically, you can do all this for free. You technically can play the game for free. I think most people are even doing it. It's just the game is intentionally set up to be unfair in this regard, so you spend money at the end of the day. So that's the big problem I have with mobile games, because they're just grindy for the sake of being grindy, and they make everything much easier if you spend. And the thing is, like, yeah, I know, like, technically you don't have to spend anything, and I guess like maybe one small purchase is harmless. The thing is, this doesn't stop. Like, a lot of times people end up actually spending much more than like what they would spend on a normal $60 fully made and good game for a game that's just grinding at the end of the day, that doesn't actually have that quality that should warrant a $60 price tag. But people do it. Like, I've already seen clips of it on Twitter, on YouTube. You can't. There was a good quote in a HG chat last night from Kyle. He said, "You can't buy happiness, but you can buy high scores in Mario Kart in this world now." Because there's a guy who is like 5th worldwide or something in the ranking system, who literally just spends so much money on the game. And I know that the majority of people probably aren't spending anything, but then you have people who actually spend so much money that it makes up almost entirely for the people that don't spend anything, and the profits on these mobile games can sometimes overtake the actual games in the series. And I think that's what happened with Pokemon Go, and we've seen steady decline with the main series in that franchise ever since the game came out, I would argue. And that's what I'm worried about, because, you know, the thing is, everybody has a phone. Like, there's a lot of people that are going to get this. I would never like pay MK the time of day. Like, I've seen people talk about already on Twitter, YouTube comments, Discord, everywhere. People will download it and talk about it because it's on their phone, so it's easy to get. It's free, and then they'll play it and stuff because that's the new trend. And despite the low quality, any random person who has a phone will buy it and think it's cool because they're going to play Mario Kart on their phone, even like regardless of the quality at the end of the day. So people will buy the shit, and like there's other things that like will get these people also. One thing is the game, like right now you play bots every single time you play, but the profiles of these bots resemble like real people and stuff, and they aren't too hard to beat, but there will be people out there. I've already seen like a case of like some guy explaining it. So he's like, yeah, I was at school, and like everybody's playing this game now, even though they don't normally play the series at all. And this one guy looked really happy because he won a race against all these Japanese players, and he was bragging about it. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that they were just bots. And it's like, yeah, you're going to get people excited in that ways like that, because they're kind of like, it's kind of scummy that they even do this real player thing. Like, I don't really see a reason to do that other than to manipulate / trick people. I think that's kind of shady, I guess. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm just kind of worried what the fuck Nintendo is doing with the series at this point, as somebody who really likes the games, obviously, and plays them a lot. So I'm slightly worried about the future. Best case scenario is we get another release on the Switch, but what if we don't? The thing is, like in the case of many other older Mario Kart entries, there was like about 2 to 3 years after they came out, there was always a new console where it's like, yeah, that's gonna be the next. That's gonna be where the next game is, like, obviously. But the Switch is doing so well right now that I don't know if this is actually going to be the case. I think that they'll probably just try to ride the Switch as long as possible as a console handheld hybrid. They don't need to have a DS/Wii. They don't need to have a 3DS/Wii U, because the Switch kind of covers all grounds there, and it's doing very well. So I think that's just their sole focus right now. So, with that being said, the Switch could last many more years. So, if they already believe that Deluxe is the game from the series that is on that system, and they don't make any more, we may just have to play it for a while more without getting a new game. At that point, like, motivation may go down quite a lot. So, I'm worried and hope that they do put something new on, because Deluxe, we forget it sometimes, wasn't actually a new title. It was a port of 8U, which came out well over 5 years ago. So this is actually the longest stretch between like 2 true new entries in the series. Like, we've surpassed the gap from SMK to MK64 now. So it's a little worrisome, I suppose, because obviously we haven't had new content in a while. We got a new site ready for it. We're just like really hoping that we can have something new that isn't just a bad application on a mobile game. It's designed to manipulate people. So everybody's worried about it, I think. And the thing is, if they do put a new game on Switch, that would be the optimal case already, because so many people have a Switch already that would be excited about it. I don't know why they don't do it. It's guaranteed to sell hugely, and I really hope that MK Tour wasn't a distraction that made the developers focus on that. I don't think that the actual main developers really worked on it that hard, but like, or even at all for that matter. But you really hope to see something like a trailer like next E3 or something that can at least like make people see that it's on the way, because I think it would make a lot of money. I think it would sell a lot. So, you know, what's holding them back at this point? I don't really know, but I really just wish that they would treat the series like they do Smash sometimes, because it's a big seller. Oftentimes it sells more than Smash does. I think Deluxe still has more sales than Ultimate despite being a port. So, I don't know what they're waiting on, but it's a bummer at the end of the day. And anyway, this video, like, it isn't meant to discredit everything that Mario Kart Tour did. It's just, I think there's a lot of sketchy stuff that is very mobile game-esque. I know that most of the time in the past that Nintendo's been good about just making good games, I guess, good quality experiences. But when I look at this overall, I just see the methods and the manipulation that they are hiding, in a sense, in this game to try to trick people, I guess. And I just don't really like that at all. So I don't know. I'm still playing each day. I'm getting my daily login and rewards and stuff. I refuse to spend any money on it, of course. But we'll see how long it lasts. I know that some content is still unreleased. I'm trying to play Waluigi Pinball eventually on my phone. But, you know, we'll see if that ever happens, I guess. I guess the one cool thing that I could say about this game is that it offers some kind of interesting takes on tracks. Like, you can do reverse mode. You can have some tracks transform and stuff. That stuff's a little bit cool, but at this point, I think I would rather just see new tracks than like the same 10 that they've just been regurgitating in every cup so far. I guess the other thing is like the challenges are a little cool also, because there's no pay to win aspect in them whatsoever. You just get a combo and it's like, just do this. I know it's a very small part of the game, and I suppose it's pretty lackluster when you compare it to MKDS's mission mode, but it is kind of nice to see, I guess. But anyway, that's my full first impressions on Mario Kart Tour. Feel free to write some comments if you agree or disagree. I'm always willing to talk with that. Glad I could, I guess, talk about some kind of new MK content at the end of the day, even though it's not the one that I wanted. But anyway, I think that's all I have for now, so thanks for watching, and see you later.